In today's episode, we are going to be focusing on the segment of Chelsea Green versus Gunther, and also, of course, the addition of Matt Cardona. Where does that feud go? Along with that, we have some new SmackDown champs that I do want to talk about. Also, who are some overlooked wrestlers in the WWE? And of course, we got to talk about that last segment on Raw and the rise of Solo Sikoa. All that and more in this episode.
Look at this! ZigZag! ZigZag! Cover!
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the ZigZag Wrestling Club. My name is Corbin. Thank you for joining me here today. Don't notice if you're not watching on video, I am moved into my apartment, so there's nothing on the walls. It's a bit boring. You see up in this corner, this little blanket right here. This is a Dr. Pepper blanket that is too small to be actually used as a blanket because it is so small. So I just put it up on my wall. Here in a little bit, maybe in a week or so, a Money in the Bank briefcase is going up on one of these walls. I'm a Hang Dom Dom, my action figure. He's going to go back there. Maybe I'll get some more stuff, but currently I just have some LED lights up in front of me. I have my backlight that I usually have, and other than that, I just have this set up. Hold on, I should even chuck this on. Yeah, look how cool that is. This little light up mat. I'm just LED'd out at the moment, and usually my keyboard also does, but for some reason it likes to do this thing where it kind of just turns off, and the colors just kind of get cooked. Oh, there it is a little bit. You can see it in the corner, but we finally got all moved in. It was such a stressful week for a hot second, just because of all the stuff that was going on and the move, and all of it was just pretty crazy. So I'm happily set into my place of podcasting, I should say. The only problem I have with this entire setup, and I actually do like the way everything is set out right now, like my computer's down here so I can look at myself, but it also kind of looks like I'm looking at the camera just a little bit. So my soundboard is here, but I can't plant the microphone on this desk. It's too wide. So the arm is extending from another table, but to do that, the aux cord has to go across where my desk is. So to get out of this, if I have to go to the bathroom or go grab a drink or do whatever, and I'm streaming or playing COD, I have to go under the cable. So I have to crawl out of my setup, which I don't love, but at the same time, there are worse things going on in the world, so I can go ahead and deal with that. But I love this current setup. I love the apartment. But this one I want to talk about. This is my very first question, and it's not even WWE related. If you could live anywhere for 1 year, everything paid for, where are you going? Where am I going? Our question is, where are you going? Go down below. Go in the comment section. Tell me where you'd want to go and why. Me personally, I have a few ideas on where I think I'd want to go. I'm looking at Belgium, first of all. As a big Formula One fan, one of the most iconic racetracks of all time, Spa, is there in Belgium. And along with that, I've just heard what great food they have, what a great atmosphere they have. The lay of the land is just amazing from what I've heard. And I think that that's a place that I've never been before. I wouldn't want to go live 1 year somewhere that I've been to. I don't want to go live in Florida for a year or whatever. I want to go somewhere that's completely new culture. So definitely outside of the United States. But man, I think Spa would be insane. Another one for me is New Zealand. New Zealand looks incredible as well, and they have such a rich culture there as well, and it'd be something that I think it'd be cool to kind of get used to. So yeah, Spa, Switzerland. Another place would be Iceland. Along the same thing, I just want a place with lots of new cultures and new people and new languages and new traditions for me to kind of catch up on, because I only know stuff about the United States, and I think it would be kind of cool to learn about what other people in the world are offering and doing, and kind of things like that. So yeah, and also Iceland is beautiful. If you guys have never seen a picture of Iceland, man, gotta look it up. It looks nuts. So I think those would probably be my picks. But those would be the places I think I could live for a year. Now, money-wise, I can't just go live there right now because the old wallet's not doing too well at the moment since I just moved in. I'm buying all this stuff because I need to fill apartment with all this stuff. And don't worry, the flag that's normally in the background, it is over there. It is up on my wall, on my big wall, because that's my flag, and I will never get rid of it. I just don't want to put it behind me because I want a bit more of a simplistic background, I guess. And so if I could live anywhere for a year, completely paid for, I would have to pick one of those three. I think I'd maybe pick New Zealand or like Zandvoort. Zandvoort also has a great F1 track. But I think out of those 3 or 4 that I just named, give me New Zealand. I think New Zealand would be so sick. And also like it's like a city, but like surrounding the city is all like big farmland and mountains and hills and grass and like it's just beautiful there. So give me New Zealand if I could live anywhere for a year, everything getting paid for. Now, for what you really came here for, let's talk about SmackDown really quick. I don't have too much to talk about regarding Raw and SmackDown. Like, stuff happened, but not like a ton of things that I wanted to list off. But Nick Aldis and Chelsea Green, this segment was gold. Straight gold. I mean, let's just be honest. Nick Aldis, I thought, was going to be the ultimate bad guy here for a second. Nick Aldis gets booed. Absolutely booed. He tells Chelsea it's part of his job. He hates this part of his job. And he tells Chelsea that she has to relinquish the title. I think that this was maybe the most emotional segment on WWE this year. And it's emotional not because of the fans getting involved and they're like, no, we don't want Chelsea to have the title removed, and everyone's booing Nick Aldis, and Nick Aldis is like, I'm sorry, like there's nothing I can do. It's Chelsea's promo. Chelsea's promo brought the fans in. That's the most important part here. This was the greatest promo of her entire career, and I'll stand on that till the day I die. She's talking about how all the hardships she's had to go through, all the broken ankles, broken, noses, all this stuff, all of her friends getting released, and she gets released and she comes back. She gets fired again. She comes back. Like, she's going through this basically her entire career. And she's just spitting out like all of the things that have happened to her over the course of how many years? I think 8 years, I think she said. And then she turns it around and she relays it to Nick Aldis's life. How he wanted to stand up for what he believed in, and he went against Gunther, and she kind of like made that connection to Nick Aldis, which made this segment just feel so real. And I think that this segment was real. And I don't mean that in the fact that like, she actually was told to relinquish it and then she was like, no, but I'm going to do it anyways. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like her promo is what she thinks. Everything she said was true. Nobody believed in her. Nobody cared about Chelsea Green. She's been given a whole bunch of trash to work with. And she still made the best out of her moments, and that's what's gotten her to where she is now, the WWE Women's Champion. So you got to think, like, this was coming from the heart and soul of Chelsea Green. 100%. And relaying it to Nick Aldis's life, you can see that, like, switch in character from GM to Nick. And Chelsea, of course, she leaves the ring and she's upset. And the craziest part was the fans. Like, the fans almost didn't react. It was like all of the air had been sucked out of the arena, and everyone was like, that's it. That's it. We're gonna have this great segment, and Nick Aldis is gonna do whatever. And then she almost gets to the back, and Nick Aldis tells her to wait. And he reinstates her as champion. Do I think this is the right move? Absolutely. Are we even serious? I think anybody who thinks this is a bad move should just turn the TV off forever. Literally forever. This segment was just amazing. She walks back up the ramp. They talk it out a little bit more, and he reinstates her, or I guess doesn't make her relinquish the title. And I mean, just the amount of ups and downs we had in this one segment was the greatest kickoff to SmackDown I think I've seen since I started watching again. Legitimately, I was so dialed in and invested on what was going on because of the amount of passion these two were throwing back and forth at each other. And I think it's the right move because he gave this stipulation. He gave the stipulation of, I think she has 30 days to get cleared and defend her title. And I haven't mapped out the 30 days yet, but I think like potentially that could lead to right around Sunday night's main event. She can get cleared and then probably go and face maybe Nia Jax, I think, is the person that's kind of like been stepping up here. Maybe even a Tiffany Stratton, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. And we can take this opportunity of like, you have this deadline. You have this deadline of 30 days, which also is kind of stupid because like we have champions out there that haven't defended their title in like, 3 months or whatever. But, well, we're just going to forget about that, I guess. And we're going to take this 30-day thing. It's like, you got to get cleared. What's she going to do? She's going to put a mask on for sure. And it's going to be fantastic whenever she's going out there and she's wearing the mask and she's being a diva. She's doing the Chelsea stuff with her broken orbital bone, of course. And I think this is the greatest move WWE has done all year. It's fantastic. Then she says something along the lines of like, I'll take on anyone in the back to hold this title. And Gunther's music hits, which I gotta be honest, I was sitting there on the couch. No, I wasn't on the couch. I was out making food. And I was paying attention to what was going on. I was like making food, and I thought the segment was about done. So I turned around and I was grabbing whatever to make this dish. And from behind me, I just hear the dun dun, and I'm like, what the hell? So I like drop everything and I turn around and I see that Gunther is now coming out. And I'm like, is Gunther gonna fight Chelsea Green? Like what is going on? And he just comes out and him and Chelsea talk crap to each other. Great promo segment again, back to back from Chelsea, where she has her own standalone and then turns around and has this moment with Gunther, which I gotta be honest, so random. Such a random pairing of people to put together, but I love it. Like, this is what I love about wrestling. I love it whenever they have these moments where they take two people that have never interacted before and they're like, let's just see what these guys can do. Like, legit, what can we lose? Let's see what they can do. And you have Gunther, the, career killer, like one of the most feared guys in WWE, come out and interrogate kind of and talk trash to Chelsea Green, the underdog women's champion. It was hilarious. And then, of course, Gunther being a little bit disrespectful, Chelsea getting her get back, and she's, running her mouth like usual. And, of course, Matt Cardona comes out, fights Gunther, eventually loses. But that's okay because this was so cool to see easily the biggest babyface in the company, Chelsea Green, versus the biggest heel in the company, Gunther, and it's boy versus girl. So, like, this is just a moment that I haven't seen maybe almost ever. Like, you're having a literal, like, I'm not going to call it a feud because I don't know if it's going to be like a one-off moment or whatever, but you're literally having this baby feud segment between a boy versus a girl. Can someone tell me the last time that's happened? Like, the only time I think of is Dom versus Rhea Ripley. But again, you have Liv act as the person that's actually fighting Rhea, which is the same as they did here with Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona comes out and fights for Chelsea, while Chelsea's in his corner. So that's kind of like the only thing I can think of. But it wasn't to the degree of the biggest. Well, Dominic at the time was the biggest heel, but this is like an absolute monster of a man versus the diva Karen Chelsea Green. Like, this was just such a weird dynamic to throw together, and I freaking loved it. I don't know if this is going to lead to something like a Matt Cardona versus Gunther kind of match. I really don't know. I think it'd be dope if they ran a program, Gunther versus Matt Cardona, and maybe Chelsea Green gets involved at some point. And who knows, maybe Matt Cardona is going to be the person to beat Gunther in his, not for the first time ever, but Gunther's never lost a match in a one-on-one match without a title on the line. So maybe he's going to be the first person to do it. Who knows? That'd be a massive boost for his career. That's some bragging rights for sure. And then we turn it around and we get another emotional promo between Kevin Owens and CM Punk. And, you know, they have this story that they tell of how they met each other 20 years ago. And CM Punk was mean to KO. And KO was this pompous, arrogant D-bag. And this is such a cool story to develop. Because it's passionate and it's emotional. And we're relying on prior events to tell a story now. This is the storytelling that I love. And I'm going to be honest. I bet my money that CM Punk was probably just a dick to Kevin Owens. That's going to be my guess because, listen, as cool and as much as people love CM Punk, I can definitely see him being like just the most arrogant dick in a locker room ever. But at the end of this feud, like, I don't think KO is going to end up winning the championship. Like, I can always pray. Like, I would love KO to win this. I feel like they want to try and build CM Punk maybe with something a little bit different. But also at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm thinking Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, like those are two great rivals. Once Randy gets out of this feud with Cody, once KO gets out of this feud with CM Punk, maybe KO's the champ. Maybe KO ends up winning it. And then now we have Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. I think that would be a really cool thing to put together. But honestly, I don't know. I don't run creative. Which, funny enough, leads me to this next question. If you control WWE creative for 1 year, what would be the first 3 things you changed? Now, again, I have answered this. I don't think I could control WWE creative. These are just some ideas in a weird world where I could do whatever I wanted without any restrictions. First thing I would change, the tag division. Let me talk about the tag division really quick. I think that most people want the belts to be unified. I don't want that to happen. I just want them to maybe I don't know, like lock in and actually put some tag teams together. Because we had this run where I think, right before SummerSlam last year, where we had all the SmackDown guys, all the SmackDown tag teams, and they went on and put on that ladder match. And they had this 6-month run where they were the best thing on SmackDown. And also at the same time, we were having a really cool storyline with the Judgment Day and the War Raiders and I forget what other tag team was involved at that time. But, and the New Day, of course. And they were kind of running this thing. Now, it wasn't as good as what was going on SmackDown, but it was at least some sort of tag feud that was going on. Right now, on both brands, nothing is happening. Something did happen on SmackDown, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. But let's look at Raw really quick. What is the Vision doing with the belts? Like, they won it from the Street Profits back. Like, that was kind of a cool feud. They kind of cooked that up. But again, it was just one team versus another team. And there are no other teams in the Raw division for the tag belts. There's just not. And they wanted to do this thing. There was a report that came out, I believe a month or so ago, talking about how they wanted to home grow some tag teams. And they wanted to just pair people together. And they wanted to, kind of be inventive. Here's the problem I have. I love that idea. I think that's fine. Like, if you wanted to throw together freaking, I don't know, Gunther and El Grande Americano for some reason. If you wanted to throw them together and they go after the tag belts for some reason, I don't even hate that. Because at least it's you're giving 2 people the opportunity to challenge for a belt. And then you could give, The Miz and Kit Wilson the opportunity to be involved with those guys, and they're going after the Vision, and this is all just like a what word am I looking for here? This is all just I don't know, a random scenario I'm throwing together in my head, but it would actually work because we have multiple teams vying for a championship. Let's look at the state of the Women's World Championship. It was terrible for a long time because no one was challenging Liv Morgan. Now she beats Io Sky. Io Sky still might be in the mix here and there. Who knows? I think she might get involved at some point, but she isn't yet. But let's just take it. Liv Morgan, and now Becky Lynch has returned, and Stephanie Vaquer has returned. So now there are 3 people vying for the championship. That is way better than either 1, nothing happening, or 2, just a straight up like one-on-one. And like the Vision, like I said, had this cool thing going with the Street Profits, but it was still just tag team versus tag team. Every single title picture is better when there are multiple people involved chasing the title. It just is. You cannot ever point me out to a title picture and say, oh, it was way better when it was just this person versus this person. And you're going to be like, well, how about these people? Like, let's just take Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Okay? Let's take that on. It wasn't just a one-on-one. There are other people vying in that match. And that's not, I don't even think that match was for a belt. But like Triple H is involved. And other people were also involved in the making of that feud in that moment of WrestleMania. It's not just a straight up 1v1. Now you can get away with 1v1 feuds, but a championship picture, like kind of what I'm talking about, like the tag belts last year at SummerSlam, would it have been as cool if we just had, I believe it was the Wyatt Six versus I think it was the Street Profits. I really don't remember who went in as the champions. Would it have been as cool if it was just them versus them, go ahead and go at it in this ladder match? It would have been good because it's still a ladder match, but it's way cooler that it was like 6 tag teams all going after the tag team championships. That's what I would change. Number 1. I know that was a very long spiel, but the tag team division genuinely sucks. And I think if they do need to unify the belts, and because that would fix something, and then it's like only one brand has to deal with, okay, what's the tag division doing? Let's get this tag team back over to SmackDown because the belts are unified and they're over there right now. Like, that works, but we just need to figure out something with the tag team division, men's and women's. And I know women's just changed, but there's no one else for them to go against except for maybe like the Irresistible Forces are kind of there, I guess. The Bella Twins, freaking Brie Bella's hurt, so it's like there's no one there. We just got to get it figured out. Another thing I would change, I would make, since Money in the Bank's coming up, let's talk about Money in the Bank. I think that Money in the Bank needs to be the stepping stone for young talent to get into the main event scene. I feel like there's a lot of times they use it to keep this feud going or ignite this feud or do something along that kind of line. And I feel like it takes away from a young talent getting an opportunity. I'm going to point out the most obvious one, Mustafa Ali not winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, and instead they gave it to Brock Lesnar, who wasn't even in the match. First of all, let's just talk about it. Terrible booking. Even if he was in the match, let's just pretend he was in the match. It's still dumb for Brock Lesnar to win because it's Brock Lesnar. If you want to take a young talent who needs some sort of stepping stone and a launch pad to get out to where he needs to be in the main event scene or kind of around that area, you give him the Money in the Bank briefcase, because that means he's either he's going to feud for the championship, he's going to be in that picture, and possibly 90% of the time, he's going to win that. Unless you're Austin Theory, you're going to win that championship. Right now, they keep doing this thing, which I love Seth Rollins. I loved the Ruse of the Century. All that was fantastic. But it's like, why didn't we give it to LA Knight? And I know he's been in the main event picture, but he's never been able to secure that title yet. Why don't we give him the championship? Why do we need to give it back to this guy who's already won it before, who's already won multiple world championships? Every time he's on the screen, he's in the main event. Like, you don't just take Seth Rollins and you're like, yo, go do some low card feud with Shorty G, or it's like you know what I'm saying? It's like that just doesn't happen. He's in the main event all the time because he's that good. And you need the young talent to somehow get to step up, and the Money in the Bank briefcase is the perfect way to do that. My last thing I would change, oh gosh. The last thing I would change is title reigns. Title reigns, like if this is me booking it, I am finding a way for each champion to defend their belt at least once a month. I don't care if it's literally this thing where they're on if they're on Raw and they're just out there cutting a promo segment, and then all of a sudden, you know, someone else comes out and they're like, well, how about you actually defend your title one time? And they kind of like get in the ring, and they're maybe gonna, you know, they have like a back and forth and they bash each other, and all of a sudden Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis come out, and they're just like, do you know what? It's a great idea to have a championship match, and we're going to do it right now. It's like, you could literally just do that, and congrats. Oh, look, they just win the title back. Look, that's a retention. Congrats. That's all you have to do for the person to defend the belt. They didn't do this one time with Liv Morgan. I don't understand if it's this thing where they're trying to make the belt prestigious, and it's like, oh, if we don't defend the belt, then maybe people are going to think it's fancier. No, that's stupid. That's stupid. We're not going to do that. If it was me, I'm looking at that Liv Morgan title reign right now. And I am saying, okay, she wins at WrestleMania. That month that she wins WrestleMania, she's going to go against Sol Ruca. This is like a little, I guess, past fantasy book. She's going to beat Sol Ruca on a Monday Night Raw. She's going to go to a Saturday night's main event, and she's going to have a random feud with whoever the hell, and we're going to take one of those random matches off a card, because Saturday night's main event, let's be honest, they aren't very fantastic. Let's just be honest. And we're going to take one of those matches off the card, and we're going to plug in a Liv Morgan title defense against, I literally do not care. You go against Sol Ruca. Maybe there's someone like, give me Joe Schmo. Give me Maxine Dupree. Maxine Dupree is like, you're not very nice. And they have this little moment on Raw where they get into another scuffle, and it's like, okay, 1 week build, Saturday night's main event, you guys are going to feud it out. And then once you know, every single month you have these title defenses, congrats, now you're getting to SummerSlam, and you've had at least 3 to 4 title defenses by now. And then once we get to that final month, you have multiple weeks after that defense to start your program. And maybe you even start the program beforehand leading into SummerSlam, but you can still have this one-off title defense. I don't understand why we can't do this. And I don't know if it's the thing where it's like, well, technically Io's the number one contender, so she should get the belt. It's like, she's going to get her match anyways. If Liv decided to feud with a Ivy Nile right before SummerSlam's like, you and I need to have a match because I'm mad at you. It's like, okay, and Liv Morgan is like, you can't ever beat me, so it doesn't even matter if we have this match. And then guess what? They have a match. And then it leads to the Io Sky versus Liv Morgan at SummerSlam. Like, I don't think it's that hard to book title matches. I really don't. I just don't see it. I don't understand this stigma that WWE has where it's like, let's just have them not defend their titles for 100 days. Why not? It's like, just stop that, bro. They did the same thing with Jade Cargill. They did it with Dom. They're doing it with Dom again on AAA, which that's AAA's problem. They've done it, with tag belts. I mean, like, it's going on everywhere. The only place that's actually consistently getting defended is the U.S. title scene and the Intercontinental Championship scene. It's like, we got to lock in and do better. The MFTs are the new tag champions. Are we still calling them that? Are they MFTs? Are they Brothers Keeper? Are they, like, I don't even know what they are. Haku's there. That's kind of cool. Gives them some aura. They needed some sort of change. Now that Solo's gone, I do like that they are like a full-blown just tag team with Haku, and they're making like this little baby faction. I guess it's just a tag team with a manager now. But like they just need more tag teams in the scene. Like, that's what I was just talking about. Like, where's Fraxium? Where's Fraxian been at this entire time? Like, they beat Damian Priest and R-Truth, which is cool. They actually had a really solid reign, I'll be honest. I enjoyed what they were doing. But now it's like the War Raiders are the AAA tag champions, and they're over here, and they're like, we want double gold. And it's like, no. And they maybe could potentially be doing this thing, which I would like, if they unified the AAA and SmackDown belts, which I think is stupid. But also, like, I'm going to play devil's advocate. If they did end up doing that, it would make it so the tag teams from AAA would now be coming to SmackDown, and they'd have more tag teams in that realm. I think that would be good. I don't really want that to happen, but that would be the opportunity that, promotes itself if they were to make that big change. JC Jane is your new U.S. Women's Champion. This is dope. This is really dope to me. I think this is a really good choice. Just because JC Jane's been so hot. Fatal Influence is really hot right now. People are literally calling them the female Shield, which you can agree with, disagree with, whatever. I don't really care. But I think if you want to push this women's faction, you needed to give the front runner captain a belt, and this is the best belt for her to win. She beyond deserves it, by the way. Her in-ring is better than, I would say, most likely 85% of the women's roster. So all gold on Fatal Influence looks damn good. It really does. I mean, that picture with JC in the middle after just winning the US title, and then Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed on her side with the tag belts, like, that looks like a strong faction, and they've done a great job booking them. It was, whenever they made their debut, they came out super hot, getting booed a ton, and their momentum kind of died off. And in these last few months, they really kind of ramped it up. And they're in a really good spot right now. Tiffany versus Chelsea is a feud that I think is going to feed families. I definitely see Tiffany seeing Chelsea Green kind of costing her the U.S. title. That's kind of what it seemed like, and I think that's the way Tiffany's going to take it. And Tiffany's going to turn heel, which I think is good because she hasn't had a heel run since, even whenever she won Money in the Bank, she was pretty over as a babyface. Even whenever she was technically a heel running around with Nia Jax, she was still kind of a babyface. I feel like she hasn't been a full-blown heel in a really long time. And so I think if we can finally get her to turn heel, we can see a new side of Tiffany. And also, of course, she can work with, like I said, the most over person in the company, Chelsea Green. Great feud. It's going to be literally two divas fighting it out. Big old cat fight. Goated. Which mid-card wrestler could realistically be a world champion within 2 years? What do we define as mid-card? Let me hop over to WWE roster. I should have pulled this up earlier. I forget. I think it's SmackDown Hotel. Is that what this is called? Yes. And we can go to Raw and SmackDown, and we can look at what they consider the mid card, because they have it sorted by who's the upper card, and then it's face, tweener, and heel. Let me split screen this. Actually, can I do that? I can kind of, but it's gonna be a little bit chopped. It's gonna be too chopped. We can see a little bit of it. It's okay. Oh, hold on. Wait, I'm goated. There we go. Okay, so if you guys can see here, if you're watching, I'll still explain it if you are on the podcast, just listening in. So currently we're looking at we'll look at all the rosters, and currently we're looking at the men's card. So in the upper card, currently it states that CM Punk is, of course, the champion. So it has CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and then on the Raw side, it has LA Knight, Obafemi, and Seth Rollins as the faces. That's interesting. So this is the first time I've actually checked this in quite some time. They have Roman Reigns as a heel on this website, along with Randy Orton, which I think is odd, and Gunther, obviously, and then their tweener at the moment is Sami Zayn. So this is kind of a really cool website. You can even go back to like the 1990s, and you can pull up who is the face and the heel and the tweener at this point, who is the champion on this exact day, or stuff like that. Really cool website. It's called SmackDown Hotel. Go check it out. But what was my question? I literally totally forgot about it. What mid-card wrestler could totally be a world champion? So let's drop down to mid-card. They even have technically a low card, but we're not even going to... Oh, poor Johnny Gargano. That hurts my soul. That hurts my... And Matt Cardona's down here. That's so sad. So the mid-card is really full of people at the moment just because it's really hard to be in the like lowest low card jobber position at the moment. In the mid card, let's take a look through here. The people I see being a world champion within 2 years, I'm gonna throw out some of these names on here. Carmelo Hayes, Chad Gable. I think you could definitely make an argument. Well, technically El Grande Americano, yes, because he's gonna be the AAA Mega Champion if you want to count that. But we'll just count world titles. Let me go through the entire list. Screw it. Akira Tozawa, no. Axiom, no. Carmelo Hayes, like I said, yes. Chad Gable. I think there's a chance that Chad Gable could be a world champion within 2 years. So I'm actually going to say yes. Damian Priest, already been a world champion. He's good. Danhausen, no. Dragon Lee, no. El Grande Americano. That's a tough one because you could take his momentum from Mexico and transition it over, and I still think he'd be as over, but I think he might just be stuck over there in AAA, maybe for the rest of his career. So I'm gonna say no, but I'm hoping yes. Finn Balor, I sure hope so, and I love how they have him listed in the mid card. I think he's kind of a tweener between mid card and main event, but Javon Evans, no. Not in 2 years. In 2 years, I'm going to say no, but there's a possibility. Joe Hendry, no. Nathan Frazier, no. Penta, yes. I think Penta definitely has an opportunity to make a run for one of the championships just because of how beloved he is, how good he is. The company obviously trusts him and really likes him. So I'm going to say yes to Penta. Potentially, within the next 2 years, he's someone that could win the belt. R-Truth, no. Rey Fenix, no. Rey Mysterio, no. He's old. Shinsuke, no. Solo Sikoa, yes. I think with the amount of love that Solo Sikoa has accumulated over the past, what's it been? Like 3 weeks? I've always loved Solo, and people are just now hopping on the train. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think he definitely has an opportunity to make a run at a world title and potentially win one if he continues to gain and use this momentum that he's on right now. Trick Williams, yes. Like I said, I think he's a Money in the Bank front runner. Now, I know I'm naming a lot of people, so, obviously not all of these people are going to win within 2 years, but these are just some names that I think actually have a chance. Eric and Ivar, absolutely not. Austin Theory, there's no chance. Baron Corbin, no. Big Cass, no. Braun Breaker, yes. I think he could have this feud with Obafemi and eventually elevate them both into the title scene, and maybe he gets his hands on a belt. I think he should already be world champion. He should have already been world champion at least, and it kind of just didn't come to fruition. So Braun Breaker, I'm going to have to say yes. Dominic Mysterio, yes. After he gets out of this stupid, terrible booking cycle that he's in, I think he'll eventually take the next step. He's another person that I think is a sneaky Money in the Bank winner, along with Solo. I didn't say that. I think Solo's a sneaky one as well. But yeah, I think Dom could definitely get his hands on a Money in the Bank briefcase either this year or next year. And that could easily lead to him winning a world title. Ethan Page, I think he has the skills and talent to do so, but I don't think he's in that state yet. Jacob Fatu, I'm going to say yes, just because, he's around Roman. He's around the title scene. He's fought for the title before. Fans love him. He's good enough, but he just hasn't been the guy yet. So I'd say within 2 years, yeah, Jacob Fatu's got a chance. JD, no. Jay, no. Jimmy, no. Kit Wilson, no. The Miz, no. Ricky Saints, absolutely not. Rusev, no. Talatonga, no. And Tamatonga, no. Now, if we head to the women's mid-card, this is interesting. I want to see what they have, who they have listed as heels. And man, the mid-card is dominated by heels at the moment. People, I'll end up naming them in a second for people on the podcast, but In the low card right now, they just have Jordan Grace, who hasn't been on TV, and then they have Blake Monroe, Candice LeRae, Ivy Nile, and Kiana James in the low card, which I think is interesting because I feel like the women almost don't have a low card because I think they could almost plug in anyone they wanted to, and it would kind of just feel like a mid card type thing. I think it's weird that Maxine Dupree is in the mid card and not in the low card. And they even like look at this. They even have people that are off TV. Also, they have Takahashi already on here. Just to throw that out there. That's someone who's gonna debut in a second. And I believe within the next few weeks. But they have all these people who are currently injured, like Chelsea Green, Rhea Ripley, Elton Prince, Brie Bella, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Piper Niven. But let's hop into the women's mid card. Women's mid card. I'm gonna start from the heel side. BFAB. I will literally sell my left testicle if BFAB wins a world championship ever, let alone in 2 years. Fallon Henley. Honestly, not the craziest shout if you were to say yes, but within just 2 years, I'm going to say no. JC Jane, yes. Jade Cargill, will she go again? I'm going to say no for Jade Cargill. Will she win another title in 2 years? I'm going to say no. Lainey Reed, no. Lash Legend, sneakily, yes. She has the build, she has the, the strength, and people do like her. Online, she has a lot of support. She's not really getting that in person yet with the fan love, but I think she could definitely have this random rise to fame. So yeah, I'll say yes to Lash Legend. Lyra Valkyria, within 2 years, no. Maxine Dupree, absolutely not. Michin, hell no. Nia Jax, maybe. Maybe. Extreme maybe. I'll say 2 years. 2 years. I'm going to say yes to Nia Jax. Nikki Bella, absolutely not. Raquel Rodriguez, yes. I think it definitely has a chance, especially being around the whole Liv Morgan scenario at the moment. I'm going to say yes to Raquel. I'm also at the same time going to say yes to Roxanne Perez. Money in the Bank, I think front runner for me personally. She's definitely got a chance. Alexa Bliss, no. Charlotte Flair, I want to say no, but I have to say yes because it's Charlotte Flair and they love her. Julia, no. Io Sky, yes. Paige, no. Sol Ruka, in 2 years. In 2 years, I'm going to say no. Tatum Paxley, what are we thinking here? This is a tough one because she just made her debut, but does she win a world title within 2 years? She's got love. She's got so much fan support. And coming up from NXT, sometimes those NXT girlies come up and they're just like, boom, send her straight to the top. Tatum Paxley, I'm going to say yes. And Tiffany Stratton, yeah, I think she'll end up winning it back at some point. So yeah, that is currently the mid card and who I think could potentially win a championship within the next 2 years. Let's move over to Raw. Javon Evans and JD McDonough burned the place down. I thought that match was freaking awesome, but I mostly just want to focus on the aftermath. Big Cass again attacking Javon Evans. What do I think of this feud? I think this feud is great. I really do. Big Cass needed to definitely be a heel upon his return, and the best way to do it is attack the huge baby face right now, the guy with a ton of momentum in Javon Evans. Good feud. I like that they actually let Javon get punches in this time, but of course, JD and Dom get involved, which I thought this was so freaking funny that Dom and JD kind of walk away and they kind of sneak back into frame and they're kind of looking around just and finally Javon is getting the best of Cass finally, and Dom just grabs him and throws him into the post. I thought it was hilarious. And then of course they slip by and they put their hands up whoa dude, slipping by Big Cass, and JD gives him a little butt slap on the way out. I thought it was really funny. But I wonder if they're going to get Dom involved with this feud, maybe just a random triple threat feud, because why not? Obviously I think Javon is going to confront Dom about what he did most likely next week. And maybe they have a match, and then Big Cass maybe breaks up that entire match. between the two of them, and then eventually leads to a triple threat somewhere down the line. I think this just gives these guys something to stay out of catering with, personally. And I think it's honestly a good idea for all of these guys just to work together. And I think it could be a banger feud because you got the in-ring storyteller with Dom, you got the high-flying beloved babyface in Javon, and then you have the ultimate bad guy, big guy in Big Cass. Which current WWE wrestler is being overlooked by fans? Let's just pull up this list again. Come on. Let's pull up the fans. I think someone being overlooked by the fans at the moment, like I say all the time, even because I was just talking about it, JD McDonough, dude. JD McDonough just burns the place down every time he's in the ring. And he's gotten way better on the mic. Every time he's picked up the mic, he's really impressed me with some of the stuff that he's been saying. So yeah, give me JD. That's someone that's definitely kind of sliding under the radar. Another person that's really under the radar, I think that could have a huge momentum shift coming here a little bit soon. I think Tatum Paxley. Like since she just debuted, if someone doesn't watch NXT, if you don't watch NXT, you don't know who Tatum Paxley is. And now you just see this random creepy girl debut on SmackDown. You're like, wow, this is weird. I think within a few weeks to a few months, people are going to realize that she's, one, really good, and two, her character is a lot of fun, and she's a good person to kind of love as a character. So I'll say Tatum Paxley is another good one. She's definitely going to get overlooked at the moment. I think another person, like I was saying, Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez, I think, is overlooked as well. And I do see the people online talking about how good she is, how much they do like her and her character. But I just think that still she's getting overlooked, even though, in my opinion, she's like a Money in the Bank front runner. And other than that, like Lyra Valkyria, what she's doing currently with her new gimmick, I think is great, being overlooked a little bit. I haven't really seen much about her online personally. And yeah, I think those are kind of like the only people that I'd like directly say. If you have some other people that you'd throw on there, just let me know, because I don't know. I don't know who else you'd think, but those are kind of just my picks. Rey Mysterio is seriously probably one of the greatest to ever do it. This dude is like 65 years old and moves better than 90% of the roster. It's actually ridiculous. The match against Chad Gable was nuts, and Chad did a great job, and I knew this was going to be a banger match because these two are just incredible. But Rey is so old, he should not be able to move like this. He literally moves like he's 25. It's insane. Shout out Rey. Whenever I make another, like, top 10 greatest wrestlers of all time list, he's going to slide up there. He has to. He's genuinely just so good at what he does. What's the dumbest thing you've ever spent money on? Oh, man. Like, I'm going to say, like, any gift for a girlfriend that I no longer am, like, even talk to. Like, I think everyone has that where they buy something for their girlfriend and they break up in, like, 2 months or whatever it is. And it's like, well, that's kind of a waste of money. Now, I've never spent, like, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on someone because I think that's stupid. But, there's some money that I've spent on some people that I'm like, yeah, I wish I could kind of have that back. Another thing, like, the Money in the Bank briefcase I bought is pretty stupid, but also, like, this is kind of just what I love, so I don't think it's that stupid. I'm going to take a different direction. I'm going to look in the direction of video games. I have bought some stupid video games that my friends are like, dude, this game's next up. Bro, this game's awesome. And I dropped like $70 on it, and we play it twice and never touch it again. The most recent one being, it's an extraction shooter that people have been just loving on as of I think last December. It kind of took off. It's an extraction shooter, but I cannot think of the name of it. If you know the name, please drop it down in the comments so I can stop driving myself crazy. People love extraction shooters. Me personally, I think they are so boring because there's like no point. It's like you don't You don't go through and win the match. You drop in and you loot some places and then you leave. And it's like, what do you use that loot for? Oh, it's for your house in the main menu. That's stupid. Arc Raiders. Is that what it's called? I think it's called Arc Raiders. Let me make sure that that's right, because I don't want to get that wrong. Yeah, Arc Raiders is the game. It's, a multiplayer third person extraction shooter. You know, I just don't really care. Like, I like shooters as well. I think they're really fun games, but for me personally, like, bro, just not it. And I spent $70 on that. We played it twice. I was bored and I've never touched it since. I don't even have it installed. Another big one. This is probably the biggest blunder video game wise. Hogwarts Legacy. I thought this game was going to be so fun. All I wanted to do was play through a little bit of the game, get a bunch of spells, and fly around on a broom and just shoot random people online with spells. I thought it'd be so much fun to do that. The problem is you don't unlock the open realm online multiplayer until you complete the campaign. And I spent hours trying to grind through this campaign, and I was literally like 20% of the way through, and I was so bored with the game. Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy is definitely probably the dumbest thing. Yeah, probably the dumbest thing I've ever spent my money on, if I'm going to be honest. This final segment was nuts. There was so much drama and passion over on Raw with this final segment. Solo Sikoa gets brought out to the tribal chief. He steps on his glasses, his $400,000 Cartier frames. He steps on them. Roman does. That's massive disrespect. And of course, it leads to LA Knight coming out to try and help Solo because they're all beating on him. LA Knight comes out, and they kind of have this little, I'm going to talk about it, kind of got a little bromance going on. And I do like this little duo of Solo Sikoa and LA Knight. Probably speaking like on the male side, male roster, probably the two biggest baby faces. I would think, especially because neither of them are holding a championship. I think that's what's kind of insane. And LA Knight comes out to help. LA Knight gets beat up, and they're like, Solo, take him out. And then Solo just hits Roman with the spike instead, and the place went nuts. Huge pop for Solo. Like, this was such a star-studded segment. In my opinion, this just showed who the heels were and who the baby faces were. And I thought, like, that's what was kind of interesting on SmackDown Hotel, that website that I was on. They had Roman listed as a heel, which I think is correct. Roman Reigns, to me, has been the heel. The Usos have been the heels, and Jacob Fatu has also been a heel. Maybe a bit of a tweener, but definitely the Bloodline are not baby faces. No, they have not been baby faces for a long time. And I think this definitely showed it because they did the whole like mafia, like hold the guy up and you take him out and let's injure this guy and let's do this and that. This was just such a defining segment, and I loved it. LA Knight and Solo, deadass, just make such a good team. And they could run this and like be boys and like super cordial to each other. And like if the other one's like having a problem, they're in some sort of situation, like the other one comes and helps, like they could just be boys. And I think it's cool because they are like two loners, even though like Solo has been in the Bloodline. He was still kind of a loner within the Bloodline. He was in the MFT. He was still seemed like a loner within the MFTs as well. And then he's been on his own for a little bit, and he hasn't been with anyone. And now finally, he's like actually has a friendship, a real friendship with LA Knight. And of course, LA Knight literally has like never teamed with anyone ever because he just hates everyone and doesn't really like teaming with people. He doesn't trust people. Totally understandable. But now they've come together to make this bromance. The pew and the have come together to face the Bloodline. Like, this was just so dope. Let's just keep running this. Money in the Bank till Money in the Bank. Maybe we have Solo Sikoa cost Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. That would be dope. For our last segment on today's episode, we have the Wheel of Wrestlers, but today It's going to be the wheel of mic skill. That's right. The wheel of mic skill. Because honestly, I think that that's one thing I haven't really done yet, if I'm going to be honest. I've done finishers. I've done, obviously, just how well I like the person, but I'm just going off straight mic skill. And it's not even going to be technically it's going to be my opinion. But I'm going to try and make it as definitive as I can. Like, if I get, like, The Miz, like, obviously, he's going to go, like, number 1. But let's spin it up, and let's see what we get. Who's first up on the wheel? Chris Jericho. That might be number 1. I don't know who. I think it would be such a crime to not put him number 1 because he's one of the greatest mic workers of all time, in my opinion. But I could get someone else. Maybe. I'm trying to think of who even would remotely be up there. Like, I can't. Chris Jericho, Mr. Y2J. Give me Jericho at number 1. And let's spin and let's see who else we can get. Of course, this is a blind rank. Can't change my answer once I've put it there. So Jericho's there. Next is Elias. I was never the biggest fan of Elias. He kind of just played a guitar. He wasn't terrible on the mic. I'm compared to some other people on here. He's probably one of the worst. So I'll just put him at the 4 and hope we get one person worse than him. I think we maybe can. Let's spin it up and see who we get next. We got the 2, 3, and 5 spot left. Ooh, is that Mick Foley? I gotta be honest with you guys. Does anyone remember a Mick Foley promo? Now, granted, he's not my generation, so I really don't know. He could be, like, incredible on the mic, but that's not what he's known for. He's known for just being an absolute psychopath in the ring. I think probably Elias was maybe better on the mic than Mick Foley. Please don't shoot me if, Mick Foley was, like, incredible. I just really don't know, and that's just not what he's known for. So I'm just going to say that Mick Foley's going to go at 5. We have 2 and 3 left. And let's see who we can get for our next person up here on the wheel. Is that Mr. Cesaro? Cesaro. Funny enough, like, again, people rag on his promo skills, but from what Paul Heyman said, like, he just didn't really have the opportunities, and I didn't think he was that bad. I would say probably better than Elias. Personally, I liked his work on the mic better than Elias's, so I'm gonna put him at 3. And that leaves us with one more person. I think I could get probably a perfect round here because I just have to get someone better than Cesaro to complete this list. So spinner up. Let's see who we get next. Ooh, that might be bad. We got Sting. I don't know if Sting is well known for his promos either. We kind of got some trash. Thank goodness I didn't put Jericho at the 2. That would have been a problem. I don't know how well, like, this looks because I have Jericho. My bad. I have Jericho at 1. I have Sting at 2. I have Cesaro at 3, Elias at 4, and Mick Foley at 5. I think that that's pretty accurate. The problem is, again, I don't think I've ever heard a Sting promo. Doesn't he just not talk? Isn't that part of his thing? So Sting maybe should probably go at 5 and everyone else should get bumped up. But I think it's just pretty funny how we got a whole bunch of people that aren't really known for their mic skill. I think I maybe missed the mark on Elias because now that I'm trying to think back to it, I think I have heard people in the past be like, dude, Elias was really good on the mic. So I don't know. We got Jericho at number 1, which is the only thing that matters. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up this episode of the ZigZag Wrestling Club. I really appreciate you guys for joining me. I do have a few YouTube videos up if you guys want to go check them out. I did a ranking of every single SummerSlam match that's up on my YouTube. I am starting to stream again. That is going to be on a different channel. I'm trying to not stream on this channel anymore, just because I want to try and separate the video game stuff from the WWE content, because YouTube likes to do this thing where if you post anything outside of the main category that you post in, they just literally ruin you and kind of shadow ban you. That's kind of what it feels like, at least. So my Twitch account is Corbin1454. And that's the same over on YouTube. If you want to watch me live on YouTube, there's not going to be many videos, I don't think, up on that channel, but that's just more of a gaming channel, more of a whatever channel. But here, of course, still staying with the wrestling stuff. Other than that, I got nothing for you guys. Make sure to go down below, drop a comment like what I've been talking about earlier, maybe answer some questions of your own. If you want to take something that I've talked about in here and talk with me down in the comments, please do so. If you want to go ahead and like, subscribe, maybe hit that bell, I'd appreciate you guys. And other than that, like I said, I think I've said it like 5 times. I got nothing for you. So I want you guys to go ahead and get out of here. Stay safe, stay happy, and I hope you have a wonderful day.